Hey man, let's start off with C.S. Lewis.
Sure.
Why even put him in this list of great conservative minds?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that question, because it's a question I think a lot of people probably ask when they first hear you say the name. Lewis, even among people who love him, and he's the author of the great Narnia series. People adore C.S. Lewis. But even people who love him, I don't think really are ready to own him as an intellectual. And a lot of people haven't read his nonfiction, the speeches that he gave, especially throughout World War II, essentially to just uplift the soul of England as it was slogging through its Second World War within a matter of decades. What he really was the scholar of saving Christianity and saving belief in God from all of the movements of the 20th century that we're still sitting with today. So that's Freudianism, especially. He was a big opponent of what he called the debunking of Freud, the idea that all our myths and our stories are just primitive legends, and we can move past that because we know it's basically all like sex and the human body now, and we're still dealing with that form of materialism. Lewis rejected that, and he saw, most importantly, that it was turning people into kind of automatons. He said famously in The Abolition of Man, which is kind of his great series of speeches on this, he said, we cut out the organ and demand the function. We make men without chests, and then we're shocked that they're traitors. We can't believe that, we've debunked these ideas of valor and nobility and goodness. And now people are, they're lost. They're without purpose. They have a certain kind of ennui, just this, this sinking feeling that fell throughout the early 20th century. And Britain had been through a lot. Europe had been through a lot, kind of an implosion or a suicide, and Lewis was kind of there to coach them back into some sense of belief that these myths that they had been told as children weren't just myths, but they were truths. He gave this wonderful speech, The Weight of Glory, in which he essentially just said, these stories that we tell, these fairy tales that we've told all throughout history, they're pointing us toward something. They're pointing us toward a reality that's more than just flesh and blood. And I think, if there's anything that we need most desperately right now, it's a recollection that's actually more rational than the sort of Freudian Marxist materialist view that everything is just bodies and chemical sets, basically, playing with one another.
Wow. That was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.